as I'm listening to it too, with the keyboards in the background, and a lot of the keyboards were lined up with the guitar. They were almost kind of like doing the same thing, but then you had just enough like atmosphere holding down a chord in the background. I did feel like, a witch at a cauldron casting a spell. Like as I'm listening to it, it's so busy. Like I just could feel the chaos around, but it was also very focused and harnessed. Like,
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Metal Maniacs Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Ingersoll, and I'm here with a man. After this episode, he'll be all caught in the mosh.
yes, it's your boy Modd.
I guess you'll be caught in a mosh, but yeah, you get it.
Yeah, sure. The mosh.
The mosh, a mosh, whatever. So, how you doing today, buddy?
Really good, man.
Good.
I guess I'll just come out and say, like, you played a great show on Friday. I know it's going to be like a month or so removed from that when this podcast drops, but that was just a mere 2 days ago for us. And I mean, everything was killer from the start. Literally, you had Kill Tomorrow come out and open it up, and when them boys come out and open the show, you better be on your A game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they were,
Yep.
And they were tight. So I was like, oh man, when the first band is good, and they're not normally like a regular opener around town.
Right.
Or most places they usually like middle of the pack in terms of where they line up and or closing the night out. But to have them come out and just open it up, I was like, that's crazy. We got to see a really cool new to us band, Met's Fire. I really dig on those guys, so I thought they did a great job, and the crowd was nice and warmed up for them. And then you guys coming up, it was fun to watch you on the stage. A lot of new material. Your new bassist sounded great. Jeff on the guitar sounded great. Larry with a little more diversity in the vocals, it sounded like. He kind of reached for a few more things that he used to do in Infinite.
Yeah, he's definitely getting more along that route for sure.
Yeah. And to me, everything sounded new. Like it must have been a whole batch of new material.
Pretty much. We played one old song. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I could tell, like, that's Jay's songwriting. That's some of the other stuff that you would write where it's like, oh, let me see what kind of crazy stuff I can do. And it's a lot of heaviness. I really enjoyed it. And then you had Dies go on, and that's just like a wash of nostalgia. Yeah. And they played super good.
Oh, so tight.
So well.
Their sound is so dialed into, like, how everything fits together. The bass just rides with the guitar.
Yes.
Like, their mix is just great. Like, they've got their sound dialed in. Dane's drums sound great. But thank you. That means a lot. We had some technical difficulties, but it's just like, dude, you just got to roll with that shit and play. It's like we talk about the hardcore during that episode with Jeremy and Luke, the hardcore where it may not be always precise or feedback. You almost kind of got to get in that mindset sometimes where, like, not everything's going to be perfect. Shit's going to fuck up. So you got to kind of just set that off to the side and just play the best you can play, So it's like...
I mean, everything sounded really good. The only thing, the only criticism I had of the entire evening was the changeover time between bands was super, super long. But I don't think the show suffered for it necessarily. I don't think people got bored to the point that they left.
Right.
That's obviously a risk that you run when you're running like 30-minute changeovers. You want to cut that in half.
But that's that was all sound guy.
Yeah.
I was standing up there for 30 minutes when my guitar plugged in, ready to go, and he was still messing with stuff. I mean.
But yeah, I mean,
that's a sound guy thing for sure. But I appreciate you coming out. It was great to hug everybody. Great way to end the year, just like all the friends.
Yep.
I mean, everybody was there. It was just cool to, spread the love and be around friends. And
I loved it.
And
I was basking in it like the next day. I didn't do anything yesterday. I just sat around. I wasn't sick or hungover or anything like that, but I was in total chill mode. I was like, I'm not doing anything today. And I was just like looking at all the pictures from everybody's socials, and I was like, yes, I was there. It was good. Yeah. It was fun. So.
I got some of us to post yet, too, that are pretty good. I just haven't really posted because sometimes like yesterday, too, I was the same way. I just kind of played video games and just chilled the whole day. I was like, I'm just not going to do anything today because I was kind of feeling a little bit, so... Tired. But yeah, man, what a great show. What a great way to end of the year. That's all I can say. And we always talk on the show about, the music's one thing, but being able to meet these guys that come in the studio or just, of all the bands that we played in or met or hung out with, it's just that bro down, you know what I mean? Just like at the end of the day, it's like, man, we've just made some great friends and some great connections over the years through this music stuff. It's kind of like the word just escaped me, but, the conduit between, becoming good friends. You already have that music space in common, right? You're already all in on the music and know what it takes to try to be proficient as a musician and respect everybody's talent. But then when you get to know everybody as people and you really, because even Kill Tomorrow, I felt like at that show I had a lot better connection because we got to sit down and actually talk to the guys for a good 2 hours and really get to know them and know how they operate. So it just felt like it just strengthens those bonds, and that's really important to me, especially as we get older, man. Those are important things,
Yeah, it was good to see the community come together and just stick around and hang out and have a good time. And I just, like I said, was basking in it yesterday, so I'm still a little bit basking in it.
Hell yeah.
It's just starting the morning here, so it's good times.
Yeah, for sure. And it was kind of weird. I couldn't hear shit up there. Like literally, all I could hear was Ian's bass because he's playing through that other dude's bass amp. So it was kind of like we didn't really know how the settings were. So that's not even usually his tone or whatever. Okay. But he is a great bass player, though, man. He was a great addition to the band. Super cool, super chill guy.
Yeah,
Jeff's awesome too. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the band, man.
That's good. That's good.
So. And you could tell, we just write stuff, fun stuff. We ain't writing super technical or like anything you and I are writing or working on either. So it kind of makes it a different outlet, and so. But yeah, great show. How was your Christmas?
Awesome, man. Yeah. The kid was super happy with all of her gifts. Wife came through and got me some cool things. The shirt here.
Nice.
I sent her some links. I just gave her like a dozen links. I was like, you pick anything from any one of these bands, and I'll be happy with it.
Yeah.
Like just. Pick a medium,
Yeah.
And
right.
She got me some Beats by Dre, so I know.
Oh, really?
He's got the headphone thing he's been doing for like a decade, I think, the Beats by Dre. But that wasn't really something I put her onto. But she knows how much I like to like walk the dog and listen to music, and the headphones I got are kind of ratty.
Okay.
They're like a $50-$60 pair of like bass boosting Sony.
Are they over the head like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but they're they're smaller in the earmuff.
Yeah.
And they kind of like jut out a little bit, so I always look goofy as hell when I'm walking. So she got me these Beats by Dre, and I took those out for a spin yesterday, and they're awesome. It's like super crisp and clean.
Sound great, don't they?
Yeah. So I was really happy with that, and that's a nice little gift,
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, especially for the music lover, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just musical things that she got for me, and then your standard socks and underwear.
Yeah.
It's not Christmas if a man don't get socks and underwear. So.
Dude, I almost had to dip into the stash. I was on like my last 2 pair, and I was like, why don't I have any underwear? What's going on? But
where is
mine
it?
just get holes like right here in the legs for some reason. Always. I don't know what the deal is, but all of a sudden I was like, I'm almost to Christmas, but I need to make it. But yeah, I got some underwear too.
Yep.
And when we were young, it was kind of like, I don't give a shit about that. But as you're older, like, I need some underwear and socks.
Kid got a bunch of clothing too and could not care less.
Yeah.
Like just as soon as she felt clothes, she just
disregard.
Don't even unfold to see what the art anything is. She's just like, okay, it's clothes.
Yeah, just gets a little peek. Not a toy.
Yeah.
See ya. Not a video game.
Yeah, she got Luigi's Mansion 3, which
nice.
I thought was just going to be like another platform Mario game, but I guess it's not. I guess it's hard as hell. It's like a puzzle game.
Yeah.
You got to like figure out things. And she played it for like an hour or more, and she was like, "I'm done."
Just challenging, huh?
Yeah, and I like that for her because she'll for one, she knows when she's hit the wall, so she don't get like that gamer rage. She kind of just walks into the room, sets it down. You can kind of tell disappointed or upset, but she don't get into like a really like rage, spin out of control type of attitude or behavior. So she just went back, left the Switch alone, went back and did other things, and was not bothered by it. And later on, she would just say, "Yeah, I just cannot figure out how to get out of the first stage." And so she was kind of upset. I was like, "We'll watch some videos. We'll come back around to it." And she ain't been feeling great. She's been under the weather pretty much, since the day after Christmas, and so we haven't had time to really do anything with respect to looking up those videos, but we'll come back around to it.
Yeah.
We'll get her sorted out, but yeah.
That's where you say, welcome to my world, because you ain't played the Nintendo, all them games you weren't getting out of the first level. Unless it was Mario, but I remember like Ninja Gaiden and shit like that. Like, dude, those games are so hard. Like, and then it's like for nostalgia purposes, you kind of go back and play them now, like a emulator or a download or something. You're like, this shit is still just stupid hard. But, the emulators, you can pause it and save it, anywhere. Right.
So you can, essentially never lose. You can play it through on one life.
Yeah.
But like, you go back to when we were doing it, like a Bionic Commando, a Mega Man, a Metroid. All those games were so hard, and you would just repeat. And that's kind of where like the musician thing comes into, because if you want to get good at it, you will sit there and play a scale like for an hour or 2 hours, or you'll play your instrument all day. And same with those games. We used to play them all day. If the parents weren't popping their head in to tell us to turn it off, it was like, I'm gaming all day. I'm doing 8 hours of Metroid, yo.
I remember that, like, Master Blasters and games like that. That's when I first started learning how to blow my stack, bro. Like, that's where I learned that shit.
Well, we got a Souls-like game. I had my eye on it for a long time. I actually found a decent price on it through GameStop. And it's called Outward. And you can actually local co-op, split screen. So it's kind of Souls-like.
Okay.
It's supposed to be pretty hard, but I played it with my daughter for, an hour or two just to kind of like figure it out, see what it's about. But she got it. We got into that for about 2 hours, and that's about the time that she started not feeling well, and she hung it up. But that was fun. That was kind of a, like to both of us from me. Put both our names on the tag.
That's cool. Yeah, if it's something you guys can do together,
Yeah. Well, that was the whole idea. I didn't expect her to be out here like playing this game solo campaign, open world, and
what system do you have? PS4.
PS4. Yeah,
okay.
Still rocking the last generation.
Yeah, because I picked up Contra Galago or something like that. It's called, or Galagos or something like that. But it's weird. It's almost like a remake of the Contra games.
Yeah.
But it's like PS5 graphics. So it's still like side scroller and everything. Same kind of concept where you get the weapons come down and all that. But me and the boys were playing that. That was pretty fun. But it's not as hard as the old ones because you can kind of do the whole continue. They only give you 3 guys and you still die, but you at least can continue from where you left off. So because it's pretty challenging. It's pretty hard,
Yeah, I remember Contra was one too, man.
Oh, yeah.
Even with the 30 guys, you could do the code. Yep. I eventually did get so good at that game, and I shit you not, I would forego the code, because then the code gave me the ability to get good. Right? You keep playing it.
Yeah.
And then I would just start with the regular amount of guys, and I could actually go through the game and obtain more free guys and have more guys by the end of the campaign than when I started.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's how much I played Contra. Yeah. It was like, I just know everything, everywhere.
Memorized every little thing. Because, that was the thing about those old games, is just pattern recognition. Like, that same guy's going to come out almost every single time, or, whatever. So,
anymore nowadays, they switch that up. Like,
there's
not as much pattern recognition in games. It's like, no, he don't always have that bad guy there. There's like several different things that can happen. So I really appreciate that about newer games.
Have you ever played Cuphead?
We own it.
That motherfucker is.
It's another one that my daughter tried for a minute, and she was like, "Nope," and put it down because just
Jaden and Andre. Well, they were both there. I don't know if you've seen them that night.
Yeah, I did. I saw you.
So they were
both
there.
Yeah.
But them guys like beat that thing, like all the levels and everything. They just sat there for hours and hours and played that. And I'd try to play that. That shit is so hard. I don't know how they did it, but man, it reminds me of them old Nintendo games where it's just like stuff flying at you. You got to dodge. You got to shoot. It's just, dude, that game is intense, man. I was like, but it's the same thing. You got to sit there and spend the hours on it to get good at it.
I think my kid said she beat the first boss, which I was totally impressed with, because I have, only heard that game is super hard.
Yes.
And but I don't doubt it when she tells me these things, because I've seen her play like Nier Automata. So it's kind of a Souls-like game, and I couldn't get past like the first boss or even really to it. I got like, there's no continues. You have to beat the first boss. So you start over from square one every time you die, and I'm like, well, this sucks. And so I got like.
That was like that Bloodborne game when I tried to play it. You ever played that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
That's another one. Yeah. I was like, taking this game right back to the store.
Yeah, too hard. Not
even doing it. This isn't my style. I need that easy shit because I think about too much other shit.
Well, my kid beat that boss and is somewhere into that game, and every once in a while she pops it on, and I'm just like, oh, we're playing Nier Automata again. Yeah, she's like, I'm just in the mood, but she's better at that game than I am, so it's just like,
that's cool. She's up for the challenge though, and know that it's going to be difficult, so you got to do difficult things to get results sometimes.
I'm just glad she's not like me in terms of like raging out at the game system, like, because I'd tell her early on, I'm like, hey, when you hit that wall and it's not fun, you have anything else in this house you can do at all, period. All the things you can do. So just hang up the game.
Yeah.
Don't sit here and get mad at something you love. Like, it's just not happening now. It'll happen later. You'll come back with a refreshed attitude and a new approach and the ability to suffer and lose 10, 20 times in a row. But once you hit that, 20th time, you're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done. Yeah. But, yeah.
Well, shit, man. Nice little chat here. Today we got a reaction episode. This is the first one of the year. This will be number 12.
Sweet.
If you are listening to this and you know a band or in a band or anything, make sure you send your music to us. I'm going to be making a post. I'm sure we'll get a lot more submissions.
So. Yeah.
I had a few comments like, oh, I was surprised that our song was on this episode, on the last episode, and I'm just like, yeah, man, we get a ton of these, and we only do one of these a month. This isn't our whole podcast is reacting to these, so you get 6 songs a month, so if yours is in there, but if we get 70 songs and you just submit it randomly on a day, I don't know when to tell you when it's coming out.
Right.
So, that's something we'll think about going forward, but yeah, like I said, I try to only do one of these a month. That's not our whole podcast. So
that's plenty. But we get in so much new music through these alone that it's, by the end you're doing 6 a month, so that's 60, 72 bands a year that we're. I mean, I don't know how many repeats we get. I don't think we've had any yet. Maybe 1 or 2.
I don't know. Yeah,
but we're basically giving people like 70 new bands a year to check out. On top of like all the albums that are released throughout the year, nationwide, internationally, all that we got to listen to. So we're giving you music today, folks.
So, this first band is called Sinisfear. The album Arise Legions.
Pretty cool.
It was released on July 24th, 2024. This actual song will be Sinisfear because that's the one on the Bandcamp here.
Sweet.
And it says, hailing from the northern cold of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, our sound, which is a breed of slayers, rain in blood, and classic North American death metal. We are here to offer our token to the highest ranks of metal and spread the power of Sinisfear to the world. We are also seeking label interest.
Okay, that's good.
So, yeah, sick artwork. Interesting discography on this band. I don't know if you noticed this, Nick, if you pulled up the Bandcamp, but they have this Raining Death that came out in March 2014.
Okay.
And then this Arise Legions album that we're about to listen to, that came out in July 2024. So we got a 10-year gap.
Interesting.
Of music here. So just something to keep note of. They've been active for a while, but maybe they were on hiatus or something like that. But
a 10-year gap usually sounds like you're going to have some member changeover probably, and if not, just somebody at the time was busy working, having a family, and just putting their life together and finally came back around to it. Because 10 years, you could do just about anything. You can go out and get a doctorate and come back and say, okay, I got time for it now.
Right.
Which, depending on the doctorate, you might not have time for shit.
Right.
But yeah, that's cool. They're back.
All right. So here is the track Sinisfear by Sinisfear. Just dialed in. Just don't want to blow you out here, so. That's a good way to start the Sunday, that's for sure.
Yeah, if you're gonna come through and offer up the brutal death metal first thing in the morning, better be good. and they hit the nail on the head there. That was great. Let's see. First thing I want to talk about, that solo. Dude went off. Dude straight went off. Like, just everything.
It was like a minute and 23 seconds.
He just threw everything into it, and I was just like, oh, he's just still going with it. And it sounded great. Drummer, too, amazing. Yeah. I just thought the drums captivated right from the beginning. There's a lot of nice touch with working the toms, and then just, like steady going death metal, like back and forth between like either like a thrash kind of a grind beat, but then he'd go like into the pocket with a lot of steady work, just a lot of groove. Yeah. Like, and he did a great job. Vocals had great diversity. He was, I mean, again, these days, guys go way over the deep end with the vocals. This guy didn't have to do that, but he kind of harkens back to like the old school a little bit. But he's got highs, lows, mids, and he would curl it up a little bit with some twists in there. Twisting that tongue around a little bit, and then great rhythms. So just a fun song. I enjoyed it a lot. Sinisfear from their Arise Legions album, track 1, Sinisfear. Absolutely kicking the door down this morning, and way to go from Toronto, Ontario. These guys are awesome.
So I would say that this is a great indicator when a band has nailed their sound. When they say we sound like Slayer and North American death metal, I mean, you did it.
Yeah.
You know what you sound like.
Exactly.
So I think that was great. The riffs were awesome. Not too over the top with anything on here, but enough to make it audible. With his vocals, that line where he's like, I am who I am. Like, you could hear what he was saying, so that's always a plus on that. Cool vocals, awesome artwork. Drummer was going off. I mean, just blasting through that. I heard the bass sticking out in there, the notes, like, which was really coming through, so you could, like, kind of hear everything in the mix.
It's definitely in the mix.
Yeah, so, good. I mean, all in all, these guys... It was great songwriting.
Yep.
You had the callbacks.
Lots of it.
So I didn't get too lost in whatever was going on here. Slayer solo, solo
pretty much.
Harkened to Slayer, kind of the scribbly, fast, just shreddy the whole time or whatever. And he really took the spotlight for a good chunk of that song, at least. A quarter of that song was dedicated to that solo. So
yeah, it was.
But man, cool band. Fucking, it's cool that we get some stuff from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. That's awesome too. But yeah, great band. I guess if I really had to give any feedback, it was just like maybe on the mix, the vocals a little bit lower, just because at times when he did come in, it almost kind of washed out everything else.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we say these critiques, it's not like I'm listening through studio headphones or anything either. These are just regular podcast headphones for the podcast. So, but sometimes I like to give a little constructive feedback. It's like. If I was going to do something differently, maybe this is what I would do, so don't take it wrong. You guys know what the fuck you're doing. So
no, it sounds great. Overall, the whole production quality of it was really great. The only thing that I thought as I was listening to it is, and again, it's my first time hearing them, but I thought some of the guitar work could have come up a little bit in terms of the rhythm section, where especially like in the solo, it was like solo and drums, and I could hear that. Obviously, there's rhythms going on behind it, but I wanted a little more definition on those rhythms behind it, just so I could tell what was happening. And just a little bit more guitar in the mix, but you don't want to drown anything else out. It's obviously a very delicate balance when you're getting into all things going metal, full blast. So, but I thought it sounded great. So just a very minor constructive feedback there in terms of mix quality. But yeah, songwriting and instrumentation, it was all there. It was really cool. So way to start the morning.
And that, like I said, that was released on July 24th, 2024. So, I mean, by the time this comes out last year. But, cool-ass man. Make sure you guys go check those out, Sinisfear. Give them guys a follow. Way to get this started. All right, so our next song is from a band, Witch. So, instrumental, technical, progressive death metal. The song is MVT.3, so I'm assuming like Movement 3. In Eternium. Now,
I just jumped over to their Spotify. I'm already following them, which is curious to me. But I'm like, did we listen to this already or not?
No, we didn't listen to this, but Mike Libertoski, he's the dude that played in a band that we've listened to on the show before called Living Dissection.
Yes.
So this is his solo project called Witch.
All right.
So this might have been on the docket, but I'm almost positive we've never listened to this before. So
we'll know in a minute.
And that's perhaps my fucking fumble. But it was underneath part 12 of reaction episodes, and usually I don't have under multiple. So
sure,
we'll see here. It does bring us to a Spotify link. There's only one song.
Yep.
So this is what you get. And here we go. Witch. Oh.
Commercial?
No. It's always the Spotify thing. When the links are sent, it makes you like log in when you go to play it. So
yeah, I went to Spotify this morning and it was like, here, listen to some other band than the one you're trying to listen to. Quit doing that to me. Like, track 2, sure, give me a random, you know, algorithm band, but like the band I'm going to listen to, don't do me like that.
Yeah, don't take me off the band I'm already trying to listen to.
Yeah. Wow.
Hell yeah, man.
Good morning.
That was sick.
Yeah. Also some cool artwork on their Facebook page.
So, getting into this, first things first, my hands hurt listening to that. That was a shred fest.
Yeah, it was a lot of work.
I don't know what's with these guys, with these slam bands, because dude in Crocofile, one of their guitar players too, I believe his name is Matt. Possibly.
Yeah.
That dude's a crazy guitar player too.
Yep.
So they're like, we'll do this slam stuff, which is, there's technicality in slam, but it's nothing like this or that stuff like I've heard Matt send me or whatever, So something about these guys where they're like, we got to get this out of us because we are this great of players.
Yeah.
Man, Mike, you're a hell of a player, dude. I love the fact that there was all this technicality, but you brought parts back, so you didn't keep me disinterested with just this 4.5 minutes of like, hey, look at me, look what I can do.
Right.
So I appreciate that. I like the structure of it, too, because it was almost like verse, like chorus. It was almost like if there was vocals on this, you kind of laid back where the riff almost in the verse, you could say, would be the part where the singer could sing over, because you kind of went into almost of a, I don't want to say basic because nothing about this is basic, but almost more of a basic like melody rhythm, right, where the vocals could actually come in. You felt that a few parts after like that little sweep grind break thing or whatever, but awesome artwork. Sounded great to me. I didn't really hear much bass, so I don't really know if they were just kind of like matching notes or whatever, but I could hear some crazy bass. Like, something happening over the top of that. If you found some guy to come in here and just shred over the top, that would take this that much further over the top. But man, this was excellent, dude. I get apprehensive sometimes with the solo projects we get sent in. We haven't really got burned on any. Most of them have been pretty good.
Yeah.
And no, we haven't listened to this because I know I would have heard this before.
Nope,
so.
don't remember that one.
But yeah, all the extra little orchestration and everything in there. All in all, great song, man. I appreciate the songwriting because, like I said, you can get a little noodly if you want to do 4.5 minutes of guitar music, So at least you brought some stuff back. I could listen to the whole thing without being so overwhelmed, especially with the amount of proficiency and technicality that's involved. But great job of that, man.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
As I'm listening to it, too, with the keyboards in the background, and a lot of the keyboards were lined up with the guitar. They were almost kind of like doing the same thing, but then you had just enough like atmosphere holding down a chord in the background. I did feel like, a witch at a cauldron casting a spell. Like as I'm listening to it, it's so busy. Like I just could feel the chaos around, but it was also very focused and harnessed. Like you just knew where he was going with the riff selection. And I like how he'd have like a theme where he had those stutter stops, like and he would like tag on some more as the song progressed. So he would do that same bit, that same riff, but then add a little bit more onto it, or like, mesh some of the musical themes together. So, by bringing parts back, but then adding to it later, it gives it a little bit more of a fresh spin. If you're going to do 4.5 minutes of it, at least don't repeat yourself entirely.
Yeah.
Because no vocals means like, okay, we're just sitting here, we're bobbing our head to music.
Right.
But if you're going to do instrumental, then you want to give it a little bit of a twist going toward the back end, the second half, because otherwise a lot of times you're tapping your foot, you're going, I wish the vocals would come in, and it never does.
Right.
But for something like this, like there was so much going on musically that you didn't really need the vocals. I'm actually surprised because of how great a player this dude is that there wasn't really like a shred-tastic solo over the top of it.
I agree. I was expecting that at the end.
Which isn't to say that the song needed it, because the song was so busy, it might have taken away from the song. It might not have served the song, as we say. But because I was plenty into it as it was. You'd have the keyboard come in on like the third or fourth time you'd play a riff, and it just added more depth to that riff. So, all said and done, like, great job. And I do love the artwork as I'm looking. I'm like, that's sick. I want that, like, on my wall. That's cool.
I love how you said that, too, because come to think about it, like, the note choices he used did sound kind of witchy, like almost spooky Halloween-y, kind of like very like spinny, like I guess I don't really know how to say, but
how fast it was going. You just kind of felt like it was looking out the window, and as the tornado
spinning, and,
magic purple, very green cool. In the air.
I didn't think about that. And when you said that, I was like, because like like you're kind of casting a spell. And shit.
It almost harkens back to something like you've seen on an old cartoon or an old movie where the music, might reflect that a little bit, although this is a very much more metal take on that idea. But yeah, this is exactly how I felt about it. Like immediately, like, oh, we're casting spells here. Let's go.
Yeah, That's awesome, man.
So the name fits the music very well.
Yeah, for sure. So great job on that, Mike. Appreciate the send in, man. You guys go check out Witch. Hopefully they'll have, or he will have some more, or they will have some more stuff coming out. That dropped on August 23rd, 2024. So almost 6 months ago now.
Fairly fresh.
Yeah. So. And plus, when you have another band and they do a lot of stuff, they play a lot of shows and stuff. And actually, I would like to link up with that band because I really enjoyed that band.
Yeah,
so,
same.
When we check them out, but great solo project too, man. So
loved it.
All right, moving on. We have a band. This band is called Sully. Bless you. The song will be called Deadpanned.
All right. The
album is called Sully. It was released September 13, 2024, and this is what they sent me. We are from Rochester, New York, members of Brutal Truth, Nuclear Assault, Sulaco, Psyopus, and then it says Just a Grind Band album came out in September. So this HPGD is like the band camp, and that stands for Horror, Pain, Gore, Death.
Ugh.
But that's the productions,
yeah.
And it says, we are proud to present this long-awaited debut full-length album from Sully. Formed during the COVID-19 pandemic, Sully hail from Rochester, New York, and feature experienced metal veterans Eric Burke from Soloco, Brutal Truth, Nuclear Assault, Adam Frappoli from Psyopus, Alex Perez on drums, and Ed Jusko on bass. Following up in the well-received debut, the Tony demo, Sully showcases 12 tracks of intense, blistering grindcore with hardcore elements, resulting in a distinctive and aggressive musical style that sets them apart from other acts. Despite the intensity of the music, Sully maintains a fun-loving approach to their craft, and their live performances are known for their high-energy delivery, which has been well-received by their growing fan base. For fans of Brutal Truth, Burnt by the Sun, Discordant Axis, Human Remains, Pig Destroyer, Psyopus, The Red Chord, and Sulaco. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sulaco? I don't know. I've never heard of that band, but all these other bands that they were in, Brutal Truth, Nuclear Assault, Psyopus, pretty heavy hitters here. So
Sulaco.
Yeah, Sulaco. That's a good one. Yeah. So here we go. This is really the only song. I think you might have to buy this album to listen to it.
Okay, yeah. Well, when you say it like that, then maybe. But as I was
I see at
down,
the bottom here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 12 tracks that you can pick from.
But Deadpan is the one.
Yep.
And I mean, it's not like we're gonna pick really a longer one because they're not too much longer. You got one here that 2:53, but we're just gonna hit up this Deadpan. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Let's run it.
Yup.
Grind.
Yep, that's what it is. It was actually pretty cool. Pretty mean. 2 minutes, yeah, just
1:45, baby.
Just getting your face punched for 2 minutes straight. Yeah, those guys are good. They know what they're doing. It is what it is. That style of music, I don't listen to a lot of it, but they're pretty good at it. Everything there sounded tight to me. I didn't hear a lot of bass, but that's okay because the riffs were just like going crazy with the drums and the vocals. I don't think they would benefit from a little bit more bass in the mix. I don't even know that I was getting much of that, but I mean, for me, like, you did the job that you came to do. It's just straight pummeling the whole time. The vocals, I can't tell what it reminds me of, but like that vocalist, that style, I feel like I've heard a band like that before, like a singer like that before, and I can't think of who it is right now, but I did enjoy it. I especially enjoy the vocals. I just cannot place where I've heard something like that before, but I definitely appreciated that, and steamrolling with, a minute 45 of just grind and anger. Yeah. So, like, Sully, I'm looking for you guys on the socials. I couldn't
find much, dude.
I could only find the HPGD site, the production page. But good job. Definitely a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I hate to misrepresent myself, but if I had to go and see that at a show, I would be like hugging the wall because I know that the crowd's going off during that kind of a set.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just stand back and watch you guys do your thing because that's crazy. Absolutely brutal. I love it. I love it for that. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, you take it for what it is,
Yeah.
For me, what I really loved about it was, you say, hey, we're a grind band, but all of a sudden you throw this little groove in there for me, and I'm like, you kind of get away from the grind, because a lot of times when I think about the grind band, it's just grind for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just, or a 37-second song.
Yep.
And there's some grind I really like Gridlink, Cephalic Carnage, older stuff. They have like a lot of grind going on in there or whatever. But it's nice that these guys do have those hardcore elements where they almost break down into a breakdown or whatever.
Right,
and they kind of open it up a little bit, because 2 minutes of just blasting it. Granted, you got 14 songs and they're all 2 minutes, so that's cool. You can play a short set or whatever. But 14 minutes of grind, that's just, even for a metalhead like me, it's just too much,
Yeah.
So it's nice that they opened it up. I like the riffs, very unorthodox. The artwork looks pretty cool, kind of like this eagle in a negative space or this bird-looking thing, so I like it. Love their logo. It's really cool. Kind of represents the hardcore grind aesthetic that they're going for. You can buy the digital album for $6.66, just so you know that. And that'd be something that I personally could probably jam, especially with some of those openings. I didn't hear, open parts in there, excuse me. I didn't hear a lot of bass either in there, but the guitars were ripping. The drummer, obviously, if you say grind, the drummer has to be on his shit. So he was grinding hard. Mm-hmm. Vocalist, like you said, I mean, I'm assuming that it might be Eric Burke. So he was in Brutal Truth, Nuclear Assault. So that would make sense, because that's the vocal that you would hear if that's it. And I know we've heard both of those bands plenty of times before. But yeah, all in all, I think it's great. I think you guys, if you like grind, you like hardcore, you should go follow these guys. I could imagine their live show is just off the charts, people flying everywhere, spin kicks, and all kinds of cool shit happening out in the crowd that I won't be a part of, but I'd love to watch from a distance.
Get it on camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Photographic evidence.
So thanks for the sending, dude. Especially, you guys got the hell of a resume, so it's kind of cool you found our podcast and sent us stuff in just to be attached with those bigger bands that you guys were part of. Totally awesome.
Yeah.
And keep doing your thing, man. That shit is cool. I'm probably going to have to listen to the whole album. I'm going to tell you that right now. Yeah. I got an extra 13 minutes to spare, so.
Yeah, right. Won't take too long.
No, not at all.
Good.
I wish they had a little more something online, though, that I could kind of research a little more, because that's all I could find, too. I was digging to get some of this information for, the pod or whatever, so.
Yeah, I just keep pulling up the production page, but.
Yeah, it's just like they're only under the HPGD stuff, because that's even the Bandcamp is the HPGD. So, but yeah, cool shit, man.
Good stuff nonetheless.
We'll take the grind. It doesn't matter.
If we have to,
we'll love the heavy shit. So
we'll just tag the production company if we have to. If that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on.
Good work, though.
Yes, moving on. I think this is our fourth submission here. This band is called The Eighth Passenger, a progressive metal band called The Eighth Passenger from Southeast Michigan. Patterns Unknown by The Eighth Passenger will be the single that we listen to. Eighth Passenger is Tommy Vallejo vocals, Richard Hackley vocals, so 2 vocalists, Mark Chandler guitar, Tim Sloan guitar, Elijah Kenny on bass, and Matt Brady on drums. Production by Mark Chandler and the Eighth Passenger. So the guitar player must have did the production. He also mixed it, and then they had somebody else master it. So we are going to check this band out. I got the Bandcamp link right here because that's what I prefer. And like I said, this is Patterns in the Unknown. You ready, Nick?
Yeah, hit me.
Let's do it.
Stop on a Dime. They were cooking too.
Oh, first things first, man. That was fucking good, dude.
Yes.
That was really good. Like, it's like everything we talk about on this show. Like all the critiques we always have for bands, these guys basically checked all the boxes.
Yep. Checked them
Great songwriting, great vocal patterns. Like, man, just take a page out of this book. It also helped that they put their lyrics on the Bandcamp. I was reading along with it.
Okay.
So it puts that pattern in your head a little easier, but man, what a cool band that was. Where do we start? Let's start at the vocals.
Yeah.
2 singers, both you could tell have their own thing, but the clean vocals were great. Clean vocals are hard to pull off. I know how hard it is, but you did a great job with that. Love the layering when the heavy vocal came back in, and when that dude got really, really low in his vocal, I was like, man, that just scratches my soul right there, man. That just speaks to me.
Yeah.
Cool artwork. I was just going to mention, like, as soon as this kicked in, I was like, man, this would be really cool for the band. We're about to interview these guys playing with Annex Void.
Yeah.
And then I see this actual flyer on the Heartsick page, and it looked like Annex Void played with Eighth Passenger, and they're kind of from around the same area, so maybe we'll talk a little bit about them. Maybe that's one of their bro bands or whatever, but
sure.
Man, super great. The guitar solo at the end was badass.
Tasty.
Just because, like, sometimes when you hear that low, you don't really know what you're going to get for guitar players, and they showed you that they can solo on top of it. So, I mean, songwriting was there, art's there, vocals are there.
Yeah, the whole
thing was there. I mean, the riffs were there. I heard the bass because it was very distorted. I guess if I was only going to make a critique, and it's always usually comes down to the production. Well, I shouldn't say that because I'm blatantly lying. But for my critique would just be, there was just this weird kind of thing when they were really going heavy. It was almost like this added distortion on top of it. I don't know what it was, but it almost kind of took away from the guitar a little bit to me. Like it was like too distorted, and I don't know if that's a mastering thing or a mixing thing, and not, or just your guitar has, at the end of the day, too much distortion on it, especially when you're getting to them low notes. I don't know if that's an 8 or a 7, but that's tuned low as shit. But other than that, I mean, it's just a small critique. I would think about that going forward. But other than that, man, fucking awesome band, dude.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved everything about it. Obviously, that is right in my wheelhouse. This is the sort of prog metal that I'm looking for, with both the clean and the fry vocals. I thought they were both very well done. And of course, when you got a clean vocal like that, you're going to utilize choruses, which they did several times throughout the song, and I loved it. Shredder of a guitarist. You got the 8-string guitars, which scrolling through their socials, they're hashtagging the 8-string.
Okay.
So that's what they're playing. So he's got all the reach, high and low, and a nice tasty guitar solo at the end there. And then the bass was in the mix, quite clearly, with a lot of distortion. Nonetheless, like I appreciate hearing it, and just having it. If you're gonna have it in the band, might as well be able to hear it in the recording, and
sure.
not just say you got somebody on a bass guitar, but actually present a bassist in the mix, and hopefully hear them live as well. But yeah, it checks all the boxes, all the songwriting, all the instrumentation was there. Definitely got that djenty prog sound, which I love. I gravitate toward it immediately, and it's not just all djent. Obviously there's the prog elements too, because you've got the choruses and things open up, and they're not all just dialed in and locked in with that kick drum. So I mean, everything for me is like, yes, thank you, Eighth Passenger, great work, guys from the other side of the state. It looks like. See on the flyer, they did that show with Heartsick back in October, and Annex Void, and some of the other bands that we know well and have talked about on this show, quite frankly. So yeah, just great work in my opinion. Loved it, and instant fan. Like, thank you for the send in, and keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing it great. You're doing a great job. You're doing very well with your songwriting and your instrumentation. Yeah, just nothing but love here. Thank you. It was great.
Man, it was really good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I don't know where I saw that flyer. It was deep in there.
Oh, yeah, I have it right here. But I was just kind of looking at their discography, too, just on their Bandcamp. They have this Jump to Light that was September 2018.
Yep.
It looks like it was just one track, and it looks like this Patterns of the Unknown is one track. So it just makes me wonder kind of the history behind coming out with something in 2018 and then 6 years later. It's only a single, so I'm not.
I know COVID happened, so that derailed everybody. That was especially a DIY effort where it was a lot harder to move forward if you didn't have all of the capabilities of file sharing and video recording to keep the whole band going. But
in a band like this, I mean, there's a lot of elements and a lot of things you got to get right. So I don't really know what that 2018 is, but I'd love to hear more music from these guys for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool.
Thank you guys.
Hell yeah, thank you guys. Please go support the Eighth Passenger. Follow them, Instagram, Spotify, all that stuff. All right. So, moving on. You ready?
Yeah.
Ready to move on? Okay, so we got this. Next band. This band is called Kissing Lilith. They're alternative metal from Cleveland, Ohio. This message they sent me says, we've actually only been a band for a handful of months with one single out and are attempting to grow and focus on our social media audience before we play live shows. It currently is myself, Galen Kerr, as a lead singer, frontman, and Cody Miller as our guitarist, instrumental writer. We have a set plan on releasing 5 singles before holding open auditions for the rest of the band. So they got a plan in place. They sent me a YouTube link. I also got a Spotify link here. They actually asked me, like, hey, what would it take to get an interview on your show? And I just politely said, and this is kind of a service announcement to everybody, I said, you guys are so early in the stage right now. I said, I will gladly react to your song on our reaction episodes, but you haven't really done anything. I don't have anything for you to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, so just because we've been around doing this for so long that you got to have something out there that we can actually talk about. I can't really justify 90 minutes of an interview with a band that just started
with 5 songs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I there's not really much I can do for you, but I can play your song on a reaction episode to hopefully put somebody onto your music, you know?
Yeah,
so.
and I think that, in my opinion, to answer that question, keep doing what you're doing, like follow through with what you said you're going to do, round out the band, get on some shows, have a friend record some footage of those shows, get a photographer out there or a friend with a good camera on their phone and take some pictures of you guys and keep growing your social media, And I don't know, I mean, maybe they're young cats, like by the sounds of it, just getting started out. And if that's the case, be looking up ways to grow your band, like business models, YouTube. There's all kinds of help out there. So
speaking on that, there's this dude, his name is Damian Keys on YouTube. If you're a band and you're listening to this, or anybody that wants to know how to like market your band or get in, look up Damian Keys on YouTube. He's very helpful. He shows you how to create content. I mean, he goes through the whole thing, how to get on radio stations. He's also got like a subscription thing where you can buy his thing or whatever, and he has, his subscription service, but he has all this information on his website on how to market your band, how to get your band out there, how to get on playlists, just like everything you can think of.
Yeah.
So that's a resource that all bands, I think, should be using, because a lot of bands we see on the show, even bands that sit in this room, they probably don't utilize those techniques enough, looking into the marketing, looking at all that. And I know we've talked about this on the show before, and the old adage from Ross from Dangerville, like, I don't have time to make a podcast and promote a podcast. That's kind of his thing.
Yeah.
And I get it in a band, you got time to make the music, get together with the boys once a week, but then, going back to our conversation with Chantel as well, like, if you really want to do it, you got to do all that extra stuff now too. You got to create, you got to have content,
Yeah, and even, Devin Townsend has gone on record talking about how, like, content is the key, like, more than anything. Like, you got to take the time to write the songs and do all of that, whatever amount of energy it takes to write and record and produce your own music. But then you got to get on the socials every single day and crank out content. So Kissing Lilith, that's the idea. You keep cranking out the content some way or another, whether it's pictures of you guys or small clips of you guys, reels, things like that. When, get the whole band in a room, get that going sooner than later.
Yeah.
Like, if you already got the 5 songs, like, you definitely need to get the rest of the band rounded out, like, now.
Yeah.
And then get out there and do some shows. I think that's a big part of it. If you're not performing at the shows, be out at the shows that you think you should be performing at.
Right.
And be rubbing elbows with those bands and, hey, how do I get on a show? But obviously first, again, put the band together.
Yeah.
Like, get that now. Like, so
be a part of your community. Start one if you have to. Grow your community, but be an asset to your community, and that's a big thing. And at the end of the day, everybody wants to have that Drake following or whatever, but that's not always realistic. It's like get the 40 people that like your band and be happy with that. Sometimes you know it's like, and I think you got to start there first before 400, 4,000, 40,000. And
I think if you're out at the shows and you're supporting, that's gonna, like, pay dividends. People are going to come back around and say, oh, those dudes are always out, man. Those dudes are so cool. And, like, great to be around. And, just by going out and supporting those bands, one of those members may be able to contribute to your band at some point in time. Like, hey, I've got some time for you guys, or, yeah, we're going on hiatus, or we're going to have some major downtime, and I want to stay active, so I can step in and help you guys out. Just that would be another bit of advice, just by being out at the shows and being a face front forward toward all the audience and those bands, just helping them, and you're helping yourself at the same time. So
yeah, for sure. So let's get into the song.
Yeah, let's.
After all of that intro.
Yeah, after all of our high horse. just some friendly advice from guys that've been around for a minute.
Hey, man. Yeah. We know how it works. So
yeah, it's a lot of work.
But I will say this real quick before we get into this too. With these guys or whatever, I followed them on Facebook, and I see they're like cranking out reels and stuff, different stuff to their songs. I didn't listen to the song though. I kept it on mute like I always do, because I want to react to this. So, and here we go. This song is called "Lipstick and Gasoline."
All right.
Get back to me, I wanna hear. Say it, tell me where you be, the tell me just run on the street. Daddy lie with a secret, you bet she gonna keep it. Now she's crying, screaming, money, money, and she better think quick. Running out of cheap chicks, running out of lipstick, trying to take a bite out of me, little devil kiss, kiss. Gunshots, French dip, sex, of a mystery color. Cause she's sexy, cause she's feeling she would cut the kid. Heartbreak a man, need a blind.
Yeah.
So, all right, man, it's all you.
Yeah, and definitely a style of band that I can fuck with, like, anytime, any day. Just real quick, off the top, it reminded me of, like, maybe some old school Queens of the Stone Age, like the heavier stuff, songs from the deaf, or songs for the deaf, excuse me. And then also reminded me of a newer band, Fame on Fire, who I just saw at Upheaval, and they're pretty good. I like what they're doing, at least in the vocal department. So, it's kind of like, it's got metal aesthetic to it. I wouldn't exactly say they're a metal band. It sounded more rock, but it's like that kind of rock that I want to hear.
Yeah.
Like, because rock can be just all kinds of stuff I don't want to listen to. So, well, quite frankly, any style of music could have parts of it that I don't want to hear.
Right, yeah.
But
even
for these guys, like, for the hard rock metal thing, I absolutely love what they're doing. Love the guitar riffs, great song structure, cool vocals. I thought this dude, how do you get all them lyrics out of you? Like, how do you get all that vocal out of you? Because take a breath, dude.
yeah, no kidding.
But I love the voice. I love the guitar riffs. The drumming was really tasty. I don't feel like I heard a lot of bass in the recording. But maybe that's something that when you have a bassist join, will kind of help fill that out a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see these guys have a lot of personality.
Yep.
I actually listened to that song. I feel like I just got out of a toxic relationship and I need to go and take a shower because the lyrics just had me at, oh my God, like, this is the worst relationship ever. So that's cool. A really visceral lyrical content there from Kissing Lilith. And quite frankly, I'm hooked immediately. This is a style of music that I love. Whether or not it's metal or not, it's definitely, I think when you get that close to metal, it's like, well, it's just music that metalheads would appreciate.
Yeah, it's hard rock.
Yeah, but it's definitely like edgy enough, and you got the beat. We're going fast and heavy there. So I absolutely, and it says alternative metal. It's not like they're trying to pull punches here.
Yeah, they're not saying.
I think that's a really accurate label, and a lot of people, if they're scratching your heads, what's alternative metal? I mean, again, I just stated two bands I would consider alternative metal. Also, maybe some Deftones. That guy's voice does not sound like Chino, but it does have that like open string kind of like pull off, low end, and just kind of upbeat, like some Deftones can be. Rocket Skate, one song.
If something that came to mind to me, like a little bit of non-point maybe in there a little bit, because a little bit of the rappy, it almost sounded like there was new metal influences because of the fast speed, almost even, if I had to just pull a band out, like Breaking Benjamin style music, it's like not, it's different than that, but it's along those hard rock lines where it's like can fit into the metal universe, like you're saying.
Exactly, They definitely have the heavy elements to them going on.
Yep. For me, I was scared because when you say you've only been a band for a handful of months and you only have one song, this could have been a total shitter.
Could have been,
but you guys delivered big time.
Yeah.
I love to see this, actually, that you've only been a band for a couple months or a couple guys getting together writing some music, because you write some good music, you got great ideas, like you're on the right path. Get those guys, like Nick said at the beginning, in your band and start jamming with some bands, because that's where the road is paved.
Yeah.
Now, everybody can release shit on Spotify now, and I'm not saying that to, try to deter anybody from releasing stuff on Spotify. I'm just saying you can do as many things as you can do with a drum machine or a computer, but you got to get on that stage. That's where the road is paved. But with that being said, cool guitar riffs. I mean, if you're talking alternative metal or those styles of metal, like, you're locked in, man. This is good. You kind of had your pseudo solo in the middle, I guess you could say, with the bridge. Great songwriting. Like, at least you guys know how to write songs. You gave me a good verse chorus. I was scared there for a minute, also, because you kind of spit for almost a minute straight. I was like, is this going to be 4 minutes of this dude just going, I was like, and then when he broke into that chorus, I was like, there it is.
Yeah.
We know how tension and release works. Shit we talk about all the time on this show. You gave me all this tension, and I'm just like, and then you kind of let me go, and you gave me the chorus. And then with the chorus, you kind of get that upbeat beat, but then you kind of dropped it down into the groove, so you kind of let that release. So, I mean, you guys know what you're doing as far as, like, what writing songs is all about. It was a cool song, too. I like the lyrics. Like, I like the, like what he had to say. And there's not much artwork here, but their picture is pretty cool. Like you said, it looks like they got some personality. Like, they kind of got the rock star thing going on already, so they know what they want. But
and listening to the song and looking at their social media, like, they got a modest following going already. Some of these bands don't, like, they're not active on social media. They're barely skimming like 100 likes. These guys quite a few more likes than some of these other bands, and I think that's just because they're active. And going back to what we said in the beginning, like, fill out your band. Hey, if you're a musician and you just listen to this, like, hit these guys up, because I guarantee you this is the kind of band that when they hit the stage, people are going to love it. They're going to have the dress, like the attire.
Yep.
They're going to look the part,
Yep.
and they're just going to throw down, and they're going to know what they're trying to deliver to an audience. So maybe they're being selective about who gets in the band, because maybe they don't want the best musician. Maybe they want the best personality fit, which is obviously a key component in a lot of bands. You got to have like the right person, not the best person.
Right.
At their instrument. So
Exactly.
Kissing Lilith, great song. Lipstick and Gasoline, absolutely love it. Sorry about the ringer that you went through to have to write that song, but at least that came out of it, man, because that's a jammer. I love it. And I think if you're a musician and you're looking for a band, I would hit these guys up like right now, because I promise you, just looking at their socials and listening to that song, that they're going to bring something really awesome to the stage, and you want to be a part of that. So thank you for the send-in. That was great. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I think that was the right choice, too. Like I said, I told them we'd be more than happy to listen to.
Yeah.
You guys get some more stuff through it, we'd gladly do an interview with you guys, but you just need to be a little further along in your journey for us to warrant 90 minutes to speak on something. If you're not on the stage, that's where a lot of our speak comes from. So
yeah. I'm sure they'll get there in no time. Just reach back to us and let us know when you're ready to hit the stage, and you got some gigs lined up, and got some more material to drop. Hell yeah, you guys are doing things. You're on the right path.
All right, so our last submission. Now this is an interesting submission, and I'm going to tell you why. So some guy like randomly hit me up as a friend, and he looked like a metal dude, like sitting in front of drums or guitar or something. I can't really remember. And I'm like, okay, add him as a friend, and then he like just this DM comes in instantly. Hey man, it looks like you're into metal. You want to check out my band? And it's like, that's cool. Like, you're kind of spamming me. You're kind of like what Chantel was saying. You're kind of trying to have sex with me before you took me out
cold
on a
call.
date. Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, I just want to speak to you about my Lord and Savior, But it's like, okay, I get that. And I was like, hey, how about this? I was like, I got a metal podcast. We'll listen to one of your songs on the podcast, and I'll let you know how I feel about it. So then we kind of started this back and forth. Well, this dude, from what he was saying in the message, this dude is from the Ukraine.
Okay.
/ Russia, like right on the border.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Tough.
And he has 2 different bands. We're going to listen to this one band. I'll tell you more about it in a second.
Okay.
But he has some other members that like are from Russia in his multiple bands. So
Wild.
he's saying he's kind of like, they try not to pick sides, but they're kind of in this real weird situation where it's like Ukraine and Russia, this whole battle that's going on, they're like stuck in the middle of it. And he's like, I've had people I know die from it and all this stuff. So it's just like, wow, this is insane. Not only is the dude reaching out, but this story behind this. And then I asked him I was like, do you have any information about your band? Boom, hit me real quick with like a bio. So he already must have had it, ready to go. So I'm going to read this real quick before we get into this. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's super lengthy, but it is pretty long. And I'm going to try to do the best I can. But if you listen to the show for any period of time, I can barely speak as it is, let alone pronounce this shit. So like,
Well, I mean, in all fairness too, some Eastern European names are the hardest to pronounce, and these guys being from Ukraine and Russia, this is not going to be easy getting through some of the names for either of us, but give us the background here, Jay.
Okay. So, this band was founded in August 2009 by drummer Alexei Sachenko.
Let's just say Sachenko.
Yeah. I'm not even going to say their ex-band names because I don't think that really matters. And bassist Yulik Fomenko.
Mm-hmm.
The first lineup featured guitarist Vadim Bigov and vocalist Evgeny Godorchev. In 2010, the debut EP Conflict was released at Ukrainian label Electric Productions, which active concert actively began with Ukraine and Russia. I think there's going to be some translation issues here, so just bear with me. Because there was kind of someone, I was talking to this gentleman.
Yeah, so the conflict over there in Ukraine and Russia is not new.
Right.
It's not new to the last administration. It actually kind of goes back, and he does detail that here, to like 2010 is when some of the first bits of tension were coming up. Because I remember being at a restaurant, like Asian buffet, And then you'd see on the news like that's years. I haven't been to Asian buffet in years. I think since before COVID. I just have not returned.
Yeah.
So I remember sitting down pre-COVID. So this could have been Obama administration or first Trump, but yeah. So this thing is not new. It's been going on for a while, as you said. Continue, please.
Yeah. So
2011.
Yep. 2011. Grachev and Bigov left the band, and the lineup changed over the next couple of years. In 2013, the first full-length album, Seven Voices, released on Coyote Records label, which was recorded by guitarist Ivan. We'll just leave it at that. Vocalist Ruslan Motana Amok, as well as many guests from the Donbass Brutal Syndicate bands Anton Subotin and Dmitry Kolfly and Datura and Jarek Escobar. That was a lot there. I don't know.
A lot of
who
names.
said I was working on this Sunday? Damn, dude. So in the period from 2010 to 2013, we performed at major events in post-Soviet metal scene. Metalhead's Mission, Coyote Brutal Fest, Petrogrind, Kiev Sonic Massacre. I'm not trying that one. Your Old Death Fest, and many other. Toured with Germans Defeated Sanity on their Russian tour.
Okay.
Since the fall of 2013, the team's activities have been suspended. During this period, drummer Alexei was busy playing in a band, Cranial. The reunion took place in January 2019. Initially, the new lineup consisted of Ivan, Alexei, and joined by musicians Dmitry Kolfy on bass vocals, who comes from the band Datura. However, once again, there are changes, and years later, Ivan left the band for personal reasons. Says Alexander, bassist of Datura, guitarist of Vesterborg. Oh my God! Fuck no! I almost have to put this on the screen because there's no way. There's no way.
Dyson.
And guitarist Yurvi Kandizi of Datura joined the band. This lineup has toured Moscow, Tulia, Rostov-on-Don, and at home. In 2021, Donbass Brutal Syndicate split was released with our participation. Then Yuri Candace leaves, and Stelino becomes a trio again, which persists to this day. So this band is called Stelino.
And they are from the Ukraine, but they share members from Russia. It's got to be an odd dynamic. And I don't know, as a trio, if at the end of this all, if we got it figured out, if they're all from one side or the other of the border. It sounds like basically they're from both sides of the border, but that's got to be an odd dynamic.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. He was like, we try not to take sides because it impacts us both, and I messaged him back, and I was like, dude, it's horrible either way you chalk it up. Like, I'm sorry that you have to live with this. Like, I just sent him a message like, dude, from where I'm at, I understand this thing needs to stop, period. Like, for me, it's all bullshit, so I can't imagine what you're going through. So it's just kind of weird how dude from Ukraine and all this war and all this stuff finds our, didn't necessarily find our podcast, but he sent me the stuff to listen to, and it just so happens we're going to listen to it on the podcast. So, Stelino, we're going to give this a listen. It's a YouTube link, so bear with me because we might have to deal with some kind of commercial bullshit here.
Slam Down Nation.
Yep. And so, doesn't look like it. So, you ready?
Yeah.
Man, we've had some players on the show today, bro.
I'm
Jesus.
telling you, we tend to hit the jackpot on these things. I love all the submissions. That was great. Jay, why don't you close us out with your take on this, and I'll chime in after you're done.
Okay. First things first, like I said, the playing, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, how tight is everything? I mean, okay, songwriting, I don't know. But there's a lot of notes going on here. There's a couple callback parts, but it was so busy. It was just like jazz metal slam almost because you guys are just all over the place.
Yeah.
But my God, am I impressed. Like, and sometimes I don't take this music for like verse, chorus. It needs to be written like that. Everybody kind of does their own thing. This does fit right in that defeated sanity.
Yep.
Like, holy shit, you guys are all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
The drummer didn't play one solid beat almost the whole time because he's just playing, dude. He's just all over the toms, all over the grind.
He's locked in with the guitars and bass there.
But, man, hell the players, great riffs. Drumming was fantastic. Bass guitar.
Yep.
Bassist of the year so far. It's only 2025 when this comes out, so far.
Yeah.
But it's only our first episode.
Yeah. So far, you are bassist of the year, sir. Good work. Way to go.
Yeah. So you got that title. The art, like the little slam, like stuff was cool.
Yep.
Like, man, and I don't know. I just like it even more, to be honest.
Spiky demon coming out of the subway here.
Yeah, I like it even more just because I know like what these guys are dealing with too. So like, hey man, at least you got to put out some music.
Yeah.
It's good music. It's technical death metal. It's just right up there with like you could hang with any of those tech death bands. Like you could be right on stage with them.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are shredding just as hard. All in all, I thought it was excellent, dude. I guess if I had to make a critique, it would just be right back to the production where everything was just like very trebly. Like there was no kind of like, even though there was bass and a lot of bass in there, there was just no bass in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
no, I
that
got
register wasn't there, like on the kick drum or in the bass. Like the bass was more guitar register than, and that's the only thing. It was just kind of thin sounding throughout, but that's just more of a production thing. Nothing about the players because they are fantastic. Vocally, you get what you get, I guess, with this kind of music. You say slam, what kind of vocal are you going to get? That's kind of what you're going to get. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say anything negative about it because sometimes that vocal just fits the music, and if that's what vocal you feel is necessary. But it's right back to the defeated sanity thing, like you had talked about, you know. So, but if you want to elaborate, go ahead. Yeah,
and if you guys are curious about what I had to say about defeated sanity, go back and listen to the album of the year episode in which I had some opinions on that. Obviously, some great players in that band, and this band reminds me of that band in all of the same ways. Great players, and I really love what they're doing on the instruments. And I agree with you. There's a lot of bass standing out in here, but it's no bass on that bass guitar, and it's just all max treble and mids, what have you, and really bright, just tonally on the bass guitar. But you know, I don't know what that bass would sound like if he did start to get too low, right? Because he's doing a lot of work there, so you don't want to like muddy up the mix. But
you got to balance that out a little bit.
But super technical players, all really gifted on their instruments. And then again, with this style of music, you get what you get vocally. For me, I want to hear if we're gonna just do like fry vocals, then I want those elevated to more of like a mid or a higher tone, and maybe some audibility and some discernibility in the words, where instead of just like low gutturals and I can't really like tell what you're saying. I think that's just a personal preference. You guys just continue,
just what you like.
Just continue doing what you're doing. It fits that style of music. I just think that sometimes all low gutturals are kind of lost on me, and I think you could really elevate your entire band by having more vocal diversity. That's my only critique of it. And the mix, obviously, you're working with the best tools you probably have at the moment. I think when it comes time to the next recording session, you just try to find ways to round out the sound a little bit more and elevate it to a more polished, final product. And, you guys will be doing more awesome shows with some of those awesome bands that you name dropped here that you've shared the stage with, which, good for you because those are some cool bands. I know Defeated Sanity's coming up, I see their name a lot through the second half of the year and getting some airplay on the radio in the car. So
I would say, they've been around forever, though.
I mean,
as far as like getting notoriety finally, or getting
some bands, it takes forever, and
I think that's just a testament to where metal's at. Like, just more stuff gets pushed to the top now because especially good stuff.
Yeah, but I think that's a great send in. I think it's a great song. I love the technicality and the style of music. great send-in. Like all send-ins today were great.
Yeah, well, what a great episode. What a great way to start the year. If that's any
Yes.
indication of the send-ins that we're going to get, I'll be pretty happy getting through these 70 songs this year or
Yes.
whatever we said at the beginning
Yeah.
of it. So, yeah, with that being said, we're going to wrap this beast up. Is there anything else you got to say, man?
No, I mean, all bands today, great work.
Yeah.
Thank you for the send-in, and continue doing what you're doing. We got nothing but love for every single one of you guys. Various styles. I love sitting here for 90 minutes, and yeah, we only get in like 6 songs, but it's all over the board. You got to like kind of reset every song to like get ready for the next one. But yeah, great stuff from all bands, and thank you, and look forward to doing another one of these in about a month.
Yeah, for sure. And make sure you guys please like, share, subscribe so we can continue to grow this podcast this year. We've been growing at a steady clip, and we appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes slow is better, because I'd rather have 100 people that really like our podcast than 2,000 people just liking our page just to do it as a favor. So if you enjoy what we're doing, please share it with somebody else that you think that would, and we really appreciate that. Subscribing, commenting if you're listening on Spotify helps us a lot, giving us a rating. Well, all those things, that's all we ask. It's free to do, and we just appreciate the support. Appreciate these bands sending this music in, sharing their art with us, and letting us react to it and critique it in our own way. And thank you guys for that. And with that being said, much love. Keep it metal. Peace. Thank you so much for checking out the episode. Be sure to hit that like button and give us a share.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed our podcast today, please give it a rating on your streaming service to help us gain some exposure.
And if you really enjoyed the show, please give us a follow or hit that subscribe button and come hang out with us every week. And remember, keep it metal.